Nobody talked to the man on the top floor, not security, not executives, not the poor intern who pushed the wrong button and rode the elevator into silence, you know what I mean. I never planned to talk to him either. I clean offices for a living. I keep my head down. I leave glass shinier than I found it. But one night, my 7-year-old tapped a cookie against his door like it was a key, and the lock on his whole life turned. I work nights in a tower called Alder Heights, 52 floors of glass that makes Harborview look like a snow globe. My badge says custodial, my paycheck says stretch it. My heart says get your kid through first grade with her joy intact. When childcare falls through, Leah comes with me. Whisper voice, small steps, hand in mine, no wandering above the 40th floor. We play the flavor game with the expensive art. That one looks like mint chip, that one like lemon sherbet. And we keep moving cart humming rags warm from bleach we never admit is bleach. I bake cinnamon cookies on the afternoons that run long. Brown butter, a pinch of salt, and what my grandmother called intention. Leah believes they are magic. She says you bake a feeling into them on purpose. Hope, safety, love. And the person who eats them feels lighter. Sounds silly until you need one. The night it happened, the corner office on 52 was still lit. At 10:30, the aquarium where the big fish usually swim alone. I said we would come back later. Leah tilted her head like she was listening to a song I could not hear and whispered, "He looks heavy, Mama." Before I could grab her sleeve, she was at the door, small hand, serious face cookie wrapped in a napkin from our lunch. The door opened. Rowan Knight. The name people half whisper, the face that looks carved from a decision, stood there like a storm in a suit. He glanced at the cookie, at my daughter, at me. "Do they work?" he asked, voice a little frayed. "Only if you believe in the person who made it," Leah said. He took a bite, closed his eyes, breathed like a noise inside him got quieter. And for the first time in that building, I heard 2 words no one expected from him. "Thank you." He asked our names, nodded like the information had a place to live now, and said he had a machine that made decent hot cocoa if we had a minute. So we sat on that impossible carpet, my back to the glass, his tie loosened, Leah explaining the secret ingredient like it was science. "Love," she said. "You think about who it is for, and you want them to feel better by the last crumb." He said the word like it might splinter in his mouth. Love. Then said it again without the armor. We finished our cocoa, packed up, and left. I told Leah not to expect lightning to strike twice. Next morning, my phone buzzed while I was on the bus to the laundromat. "This is Rowan Knight. Do you have a minute?" Yeah, that happened. He did not ask anything wild. He wanted the cookie recipe, said, please, said thank you, then asked how heavy our work looked from the 48th floor. I told him how heavy his face looked from the same place. He laughed quick and surprised like he had not used that muscle lately. That week, Northbridge Dynamics, his company, was in a mess. Leaked numbers, angry headlines, protesters with signs about layoffs that had not happened yet. People talk to the folks who empty their trash. They forget we have ears, and the word was, the board wanted blood. A man named Harlan said, make an example. A woman named Claudia said, crush legal and move on. Rowan did not pound the table. He said, maybe somebody was desperate. Maybe we did not hear it in time. We can build colder walls or a better floor pick. Folks stared at the ceiling like it might drop an answer. I did not get to hear where that landed, because life cut in. Friday morning eggs on the stove, Leah singing, the left side of my face went quiet, and the room slanted. The next clear thing I remember is a hospital light, and my kid gripping my fingers like a seatbelt. The doctor said small stroke, said we caught it, said therapy and time. and somehow those words felt bigger than any skyscraper. In walked Rowan, not with cameras or a spokesperson, just a suit that looked wrong on a plastic chair, asking if he could hold Leah's backpack, because it looked heavy. "The cookies stay with me," she told him. He smiled with his eyes first, then called someone from his phone and made my name sound like a promise. "Put all of Marisol's bills on my account. No press. No exceptions. I am dead serious." He sat with us for hours like there was nowhere else to be. You learn the difference between charity and company in moments like that. Charity poses. Company shows up. Here is the part I did not know I needed. The twist that changed how I looked at him when the building was quiet. One night after therapy left my left hand clumsy, and my heart a little brave, Rowan handed Leah a crooked cookie he had baked himself. She bit, squinted, nodded. "It tastes like you want somebody to feel safe." His face unlatched softer than I had ever seen it. He told me his mother cleaned rooms at a roadside motel off Highway 7, how he learned to pretend he did not see the way people looked at her uniform, how he built a mask so sturdy he could not find the zipper later. Shame grows teeth when nobody says its name. He said this while watching my kid draw a sun with too many rays. "I am learning to take the mask off," he said, and I told him the trick is practice. Practice makes brave. He started walking the floors during the day, not to inspect, to learn names. The accountant with twins who do not sleep, the marketing guy with a limp from a high school injury, the receptionist whose abuela used to say, "Feed people when life gets loud." Little by little, the hallways sounded different. Hello before deadline plants by windows, no one threw away laughter, not just the nervous kind. We did not play Prince and Cinderella. Noodles in the break room tasted better than reservations. And if he forgot and tried to make everything a ledger, I reminded him he was not at a board meeting. Then someone filmed us sharing dumplings on the carpet, and the clip made a business blog that eats stories for breakfast. One pile of comments said, "Finally, a CEO with a heart." The other pile said, "Of course he is dating the help. Conflict power, fire him, replace her, investigate HR." Rowan called me before the meeting I was not invited to and said we could duck into shadows or step into the light and let people say what they would while we built the life we meant to live. I told him I am used to the freight elevator. He said, "I am not asking you to climb up into my world. I am asking if you will let me climb down into yours." He walked into that room of expensive pens and old battles and said two things that rearranged the furniture. First, the benefits package stays. Comprehensive health care for everyone, emergency leave, child care support, education assistance. If that costs me my job, fine. Second, I am seeing someone who works here. Her name is Marisol. She is not a headline, she is a person. New policies mean I recuse myself from any decisions about her department. If we are going to discuss ethics, let us do it in full sentences. A few groans, a few side eyes, a vote that squeaked through because somebody's mother was in chemo and somebody's kid needed insulin. Empathy is not a trend. It is an invoice life sends to everyone eventually. My therapist clapped when I went back to full duty. First shift up elevator singing its soft song, the top floor light on like a small galaxy. Rowan stood by the window in his shirt sleeves and did the most dramatic, ridiculous, perfect thing. He knelt on that carpet and opened an old cookie tin. Inside a ring simple as breath and 3 cinnamon cookies wrapped in a paper towel. "I do not know how to be impressive at Michelin restaurants," he said, "but I am ferociously good at showing up. Let me show up for you for the rest of my life." Leah whispered, "Amma, say yes." I said yes because love is the one thing we cannot automate, and a man who once ran on fear had finally learned the shape of an honest promise. If you want a bow on it, we do not have one. A shareholder group filed an ethics complaint. A podcast did a segment called The Mop and the Mansion. My team got anonymous notes that tried to sneak shame through a sod door. The night before a public hearing, I baked, because that is what I do when the world gets loud. Flour on my robe, music low, Leah snoring like a tiny train. Rowan sat at the table, tie undone, watched me scoop dough. Asked if I ever wished he had kept walking that first night. No. Do you ever wish I had kept my kid quiet? Never. We were quiet for a beat, then I said the thing that feels truest. People think I am using you to climb, others think you are using me to pose. The truth is, we do not need a penthouse or a halo. We need a kitchen table where everyone who sits down gets seen. He took my hand and held it like a real vow, and we put intention back in the batter, hoping whoever took the next bite would feel a little lighter when they finished. So that is our story, at least the part we can tell before tomorrow writes the next scene. If your boss dated a custodian, would you call it love or leverage? If a CEO changed benefits after one family's crisis cracked him open, is that justice or favoritism? Have you ever been judged for who you loved, what you earned, or where you cleaned? Drop your take in the comments. Do not hold back. Tell me where you stand and why, because right and wrong can be loud neighbors in the same hallway. And I want to hear which door you would knock on.